everyone, and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines Rochester. It's been a few months since I've been in the Rochester save, but today we have a few key builds to highlight as we continue recreating this amazing Rust Belt city in detail. As you might have saw in the opening cinematics of the video, today we're introducing the Genesee Brew House and facilities to the city, made by the really talented asset creator Gilded Age. In addition to that, I'll be completing some more builds around the downtown Riverfront area and High Falls neighborhood, which I think you're really going to want to see. So sit back and I hope you enjoy this long-awaited episode. Starting off today's build, we have the Genesee Brew House and packaging facilities. This is located right in the heart of the High Falls neighborhood in Rochester, New York, and this brew house really stands out as a vibrant tribute to the rich history of brewing in this region. The history of this Rochester icon began way back in 1878, when the Genesee Brewing Company was first established, making it one of the oldest and longest continually operating breweries in the United States. Fast forward to 2012, and a ribbon-cutting ceremony marked the unveiling of the Genesee Brew House you see in the background here, a really transformative redevelopment project for the city of Rochester that brought some much-needed new life into this more than a century-old facility. The grand opening of this brew house in 2012 was a real spectacle, featuring a free concert, brewery tours, free food, and even free beer tastings for those 21 and older. And this really set the tone, as this 9,000 square foot Genesee Brew House has become a lot more than just a brewery. It's become a destination for both locals and visitors alike, with this living museum narrating the tale of Genesee Brewing Company and its history, along with a full gift shop, some interactive exhibits, and even an experimental pilot brewery with a tasting bar. Up above on the second floor, you'll find a pub-style restaurant featuring a bar crafted from the same old Genesee brewing tanks that used to make the beer, and even a rooftop patio offering some breathtaking views of the High Falls and Genesee River Gorge. But like I mentioned earlier in the video, it hasn't always been such a destination. While the Genesee Brewing Company was founded nearly 150 years ago, it has weathered the changing tides of time by embracing change, and this brewhouse redevelopment is a real testament to this enduring spirit. With their commitment to the Rochester community and sustainability, Genesee and their Rochester Brewhouse are poised to continue shaping the brewing landscape and put upstate New York on the map as a beer lover's destination. I've included some pictures and videos from my visit to this area back in July, and of course I conducted my own research by grabbing a beer at the brew house on my visit. I definitely recommend checking it out if you're ever in the area, and once again I just want to give a huge thank you to Gilded Age for creating all these assets and making this entire build possible. I wouldn't have been able to showcase this area so well without their hard work and creations for the City Skyline project, so a big thank you to Gilded Age for making all of these really nice assets for the city. course, the brew house is just one small public-facing part of this massive beer production and packing facility. So after a bit of extra detailing around this parking lot area, let's head over to the heart of this Rochester icon and start building the infrastructure that has allowed for Genesee to thrive and become a household name over the last century and a half. In this next part of the episode, I'll be making extensive use of the mod procedural objects, which will allow me to craft these industrial props and buildings into this really unique facility you see here on the cliffside above the Genesee River it gains its name from. This build was actually the most fun I've had in a long time playing this game, and I really tried to capture all the details of this expansive industry area that I could. So I really hope you enjoy this short time lapse of the build as everything starts to come together here. In order to make this whole industry area functional and a little bit more lively, I end up adding a few distribution center assets here, and those should do the job well to bring in some truck traffic and really make this area a lot more lively and realistic looking. I'm a big fan of making builds that are not only realistic visually, but also function well with the different mechanics in the game. Circling back around to the riverfront side of the facilities now, there's a few buildings I missed out front here that I need to quickly add in, and along with that, I'm just adding a few additional details to this side of the facility to really bring everything together. And after this is pretty much complete, so I have a few cinematics to show off, as well as some comparisons to Google Earth and real life that I hope you'll enjoy here in a moment. Now that the Genesee facility is completed and I've shown off all the wonderful assets that Gilded Age created for this area, there's another new asset that I wanted to highlight quickly. And if you've been following this video closely, you might have even seen it passing through the city. But we finally have the real-life Amtrak train seen in Rochester, courtesy of asset creator Strategy Nerd. This is of course the Maple Leaf Line Amtrak train, which was recently added to the Steam Workshop, and I just had to show off this beautifully detailed train model and some cinematics. This train passes through Rochester Station on its daily trips from Toronto to New York City, and I have to say it's just so cool to finally see something like this in-game where it belongs. For the next part of today's episode, we're heading over to the Eastern Riverfront in downtown Rochester to start piecing together some of the historic buildings that line the riverfront in the city. And for this, once again, I'm making extensive use of the mod Procedural Objects in order to shape and mold these buildings to the angled riverfront here. It really works well to be able to customize buildings and get the exact look you want. And with this mod, pretty much any city is now recreatable. Before we continue any further with the builds that we're working on in this episode, I want to take a quick moment to highlight the sponsor of today's episode. Nero Gaming has been kind enough to reach out and sponsor episodes from my latest build series, and I want to quickly highlight why I think that it's a great newsletter to follow if you love gaming like I do. As life goes on, you might find that you have less time to evaluate which games are really worth your time, and the bite-sized articles by Nero Gaming can really help to highlight the best in strategy, survival, and simulation games that you might enjoy. I personally really enjoyed reading the posts about Starfield, but I think there's really something for everyone here. From articles about cutting-edge gaming tech to reviews of your favorite games, Nero Gaming really is your one-stop destination where you'll find great insight and thoughtfully written articles about the games you love. And the best part, all of this is available for free. All you need to do is sign up with your email and you're done. Check out Nero Gaming today with the link in the description below. Returning to the build now, we have this really stunning drone footage of the downtown of Rochester, New York, courtesy of Billy Bob George on Reddit. I want to give a big thank you to them for providing all the drone footage that you see in today's episode. If you are interested in helping out the Rochester or Pittsburgh recreation projects, feel free to reach out to me at my email down below. I'll also have it in the description, and you can of course also reach out to me over Discord, but I'm always looking for help with these recreation projects, whether it's pictures or videos or just your experience with these two cities. So if you're a local or just want to be involved in the discussion, feel free to join the Discord with the link in the description down below. showing off some of these cinematics of downtown Rochester, I'm just really happy with the fact that I took my time on this downtown and really placed each building according to what's there in real life, because when everything comes together here, it's really incredible to see how similar it is to the real city. And I'm going to try to keep this approach throughout the entire downtown of Rochester. I really want to try to capture as much detail as I can in this downtown to accomplish my goal of creating the most realistic American downtown and city skylines. But of course, City Skylines 1 comes with its limitations, so I plan to go for a bit lower level of detail as I expand out into the suburbs, but of course, still dedicate the time needed to really detail certain attractions and places of interest outside of the downtown. And for me, that means capturing little details like the color of the road bridges. So that's what I've been working on for the last few minutes here, is just trying to get this bridge to look as much as the real-life counterpart as I can. And the evolution of this game over the last 8 years with the help of mods have really helped it to become a powerful detailing tool, and the flexibility and creativity it allows for brings me back to the game to this day. Up next, here's a build that has really intimidated me for a while. For the longest time, and actually since I started this Rochester project, even before episode 1, I've looked at this building here and I've had no idea how to recreate it. And with the amount of just what is going on with this building, with the different balconies and angles and measurements, I didn't think it would be commissionable either. So finally, it came time to just make the thing. So I grabbed a few assets from Prosper's workshop, and these New York City apartment blocks do the job at least of trying to capture these buildings. I mean, even the windows are just all over the place with these. So I just measure out the heights to try to get that looking good. And from there, it's just adding little details like balconies to the buildings to really complete the look here. And at first, I thought that these were public housing apartments, but they're actually just senior living apartments near downtown. And I'm a big fan of these developments here because you get really great views of the city, and you also have really great access to different amenities downtown. Now I'm moving on to the plaza part of these towers, and the last couple episodes I've used the same asset, but it keeps coming in handy for Rochester, and these underground parking garages are just really great to have in the game. I'll link them down in the description below, but Rochester just has a ton of these underground parking garages, and these are the only assets I've found so far that allow you to actually have functional underground parking in City Skylines. So they're extremely useful to have in your game. And you'll see I'm just covering this parking garage area up with these grass decals and surface props. And it allows me to create this somewhat detailed plaza area over the parking garages. For this next part of the video, I'm just going to be slowly adding a couple more blocks to downtown east of the river, just to fill out this northern part of the city a little bit more. Up first, I'm completing the Rochester Riverside Hotel, which is conveniently connected to the convention center also on the riverside downtown. And you've got the sky bridge here that connects them both as well. I'm a big fan of sky bridges and any type of infrastructure that makes it easier to get around downtowns, especially when you have these cities that get really cold in the winter. These sky bridges can be extremely useful and vital for getting around cities. And I think a lot of these northern cities could really take inspiration from Minneapolis-St. Paul and their skywalk network. It really helps you get around the city in those days where you're just kind of slogging through the winter snow. To finish off this area downtown, I'm building worldwide news here at the corner of St. Paul Street and Pleasant Street. And I add a little bit of extra detail here just because I figured it'd be fun, and included the mural up on the wall along with some additional details around the parking lot here. And finally, for the last build of today's episode, we're going to start to expand the population of the city a bit by introducing some more residential to the northern part of downtown. In the heart of Rochester, you'll find the neighborhood of Upper Falls. Named for its proximity to the downtown waterfall, this neighborhood has a complex tapestry of history, challenges, and untapped potential. Home to some light industry like the Coca-Cola bottling plant and some various public housing developments, this area sits on the opposite side of the Genesee River from the bustling High Falls district. However, despite its scenic surroundings and convenient access to transportation hubs like Amtrak and Greyhound, Upper Falls finds itself entangled in the disheartening label of the Crescent of Poverty. The Crescent of Poverty encompasses 5 neighborhoods around the northern border of Rochester's downtown: Upper Falls, Market View Heights, Edgerton, Brown Square, and the Josana neighborhood to the west. These neighborhoods were once the site of the oldest settlements that evolved into Rochesterville in 1817, and this area has a really rich history marked by the waves of immigrants from the city's boomtown era as a grain and production hub, all the way to the Great Migration of the 20th century. However, as Rochester navigated the economic restructuring of the 21st century, the landscape shifted dramatically. The decline of manufacturing jobs and industry, particularly at Eastman Kodak, left a large void filled by healthcare, higher education, the service sector, and small technological startups. And while this was beneficial to the city in many ways, this economic transformation hit the city's poorest residents the hardest, creating a mismatch between the available jobs in the city and the residents' skill sets. In the late 2000s, the median income in the Crescent was significantly lower than the rest of the Rochester metropolitan statistical average. The consequences of these systemic issues ripple through various facets of life in the Crescent. Most residents are renters, and vacant properties can attract criminal activities, earning the area the ominous moniker of the Fatal Crescent. The consequences are tangible and cyclical, making it challenging to attract homeowners and investment in the region. Yet, amidst these challenges, the Crescent of Poverty harbors untapped potential. Strong neighborhood associations, historical institutions, and revitalization plans offer a glimmer of hope. The public market, the Edgerton Community Center, along with the Genesee Brewing Company and countless architectural gems, tell tales of resilience in this neighborhood. While the road ahead may seem daunting, success stories from other revitalized neighborhoods in the Rochester area inspire optimism and prove that with some concentrated efforts, the Crescent of Poverty can one day escape from its label and bring about a brighter future for its residents. And with that, we're one step closer to recreating the city of Rochester with another episode in the books. If you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and watching this far into the video is probably the number one thing you could do to help me out as a YouTube creator. I also want to give a big thank you to all my Patreons for helping make these two series possible. I'll leave you all with a few final cinematics and some of the off-camera portion of the build here to finish out the episode. Thanks for watching, and this has been City Skylines Rochester.